Hello everyone, my name is Loco and welcome to some more StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. Today I want to go over a balanced test map that is currently live on the PTR and also actually on the arcade in StarCraft 2 with the upcoming potential balance changes to StarCraft 2. Now keep in mind, most of the time when Blizzard says potential balance changes, those are actually the changes that will be in the game in like a couple of weeks, okay? So most of the time that's how things work out. Either way, today we're gonna take a look at the new Swarm host. I know that there's also like a couple of changes to the PDD, the PDD, the point defense drone for the Ravens from Terran, but we don't really care about that because that's just a little bit of a duration and a decrease, and honestly it's not that interesting. But before we do anything, I wanted to show you off one little thing, okay? I am producing one Swarm host right now. We'll go in depth over all the changes, but I wanted to show you guys the amount of damage a Swarm host does right now. In Heart of the Swarm, normally Swarm host Locust damage is already sort of crazy, but right now with the changes, they are even more insane, okay? Keep in mind, I did get +3/+3 already, so this is not like the most likely scenario, but still, it is going to give you a pretty good example on how much damage one Swarm host can really do. So I set up a couple of test benches, as you can see. Let's go with this test bench right here. And what I'm gonna do, I'm just literally gonna walk this one Swarm host, which by the way seems really fast, it's like a race car now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spawn the Locust and try and kill my own hatchery, okay? So here we go. There's 2 Locusts. And I'm gonna have to attack. Now, there's a little tiny delay in there, because I can't really attack move with Locust, or with the Swarm host, rather, straight on top of hatchery. But look at the amount of damage they do, okay? These are +3/+3 Swarm hosts, but look at the damage. They aren't quite as insane as I showed back in the day, couple months ago, I think that is. With the BlizzCon example build sort of thing, where you could literally kill one hatchery. But this is one set of Locusts, okay? And that obviously respawns as well. And considering those are like NASCAR cars right now, and you can sort of like run by and quickly kill stuff, this is going to be a very interesting change. So yeah, I'm gonna show you one quick run by, and then we'll go over all of the changes in depth. So here we go. Let's say I want to be harassing this Zerg hatchery right here up there. What I can do is just sort of spawn those things right there. Move out again. Look how quickly that was. Look how quickly that was. You can obviously do that with 3 Swarm hosts, and this thing will be dead in like 5 seconds. The damage is insane. So besides just the damage buff, there's a whole bunch of other changes. So let's go over them really quickly. The cost was modified from 200 minerals and 100 Vespium gas to right now 100 minerals and 200 gas. So that means that they are pretty much the most gas intensive unit in the game right now, I'm pretty sure. Maybe there's like, I don't even know exactly how much a Swarm host costs. Yeah, an Ultralisk is 200 gas, Viper's 200 gas. And, you know, now the Swarm host is also 200 gas. So that means they are extremely expensive. And that straight up means that you can't really mess them. Now, for this example, we're gonna make a bunch, because this is just a test thing. Let's just make a whole lot of them, actually. There we go. Got like, I don't know, 30-ish, 28-ish, something like that in production right now. So there's a whole bunch of them incoming right now. But normally in the game you will not see them messed. Other than that, they have also had their supply cost increased to 4. So they used to be 3 supply, now they are 4. That's a pretty big insane difference. Movement speed has also been increased. So like I said, they are net cars right now. That is from 2.25 to 2.2 or 2.25 to 2.95. So they are just straight up faster. And if I want to do some damage to a hatchery, well, let's just for the fun of it give that a try. Run. Well, I can't actually attack move that easily on my own hatchery, but a couple of them did move out right there. Gonna nuke down that hatchery really quickly, and we are NASCARing out of there again. So yeah. But normally in a real game, you will never really see this sort of stuff. Swarm hosts now require no longer... well, you know, you do actually can still burrow your Swarm hosts if you want to, but they no longer have the requirement to be burrowed while throwing down these Locusts, so you can just sort of put them down on the run and then, you know, get out of there again, which is nice. You do need to get the burrow upgrade right now if you want them to burrow, which isn't on there by default anymore. You do need to get that first. Autocast has been removed on Swarm host, so even if you get burrow, you can't literally just say, hey Locust, I want you all to run over there and rally over there every single time there's a Locust available. You're gonna have to do that manually, so you're gonna have to select the Swarm host that you want. You're gonna have to actually, you know, make them spawn stuff, and then, you know, you're gonna have to, well, normally they will obviously just attack move whatever is closest by, but you're gonna actually have to manually control them a lot more than they were before. Next up, I want to be talking about the little guys, these Locusts right here. The Locusts have undergone some massive changes as well, besides just the Swarm Host unit. Usually this unit would actually last for 15 seconds and then a 10 extra seconds with the Enduring Locust upgrade. Now the Enduring Locust upgrade is actually gone. It isn't in the hatchery anymore. There is a new one, or in the Infestation Pit rather, but there is a new one. We'll go over that in a second. But right now by default they will last 30 seconds, and their weapon attack speed has increased by about 25%. So they are attacking a whole lot faster than they were before, and it just deals straight up more damage. Now, Enduring Locust is gone, like I mentioned right there. However, we get this new upgrade that I'm gonna be researching right now, called Flying Locust, and this is exactly what it sounds like. You need Lair to, by the way, research this. This used to be the Hive tech, not anymore. It's only Lair tech that you read right now in order to get the Flying Locust out, and I will go over exactly what that does in a little bit after this very, very long upgrade ends up finishing. Now, quite honestly, the only comparable thing to the old Swarm Host, so to say, is that they look the same, they have the same name, and they spawn Locusts. Other than that, this unit has gone a massive, massive overhaul, okay? The actual purpose of the unit has completely changed. It is not so much a sieging unit anymore, but more of like an harassment-based sort of unit that is very expensive, 200 gas, that you will never be able to mess up anymore, like I've done in this game. Only if your opponent lets you take the entire map. You know, it's just gonna be a completely new sort of unit that has a completely new purpose. Now, with the Flying Locust upgrade, they become even more interesting. Alright, so the Flying Locust upgrade has finally finished right now, and what I'm gonna try and do is kill this hatchery right here, okay? I did a little bit of damage to it already, but that's alright. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna use my Locust ability. I'm gonna simply just click it on that thing. What will happen now is that the Locust will spawn, but they've got wings. Oh, wow. And what I need to do is actually swoop them down, which is a new ability on these Swarm Hosts, or on these Locusts rather, that allows me to basically get them straight into the battle wherever I want them to. Okay? Okay, that is a pretty insane difference right there. Which means that you can basically run by like you did with the other ones as well. Let's say I want to do just a normal, well, quote-unquote normal run by right here. And I want to put them down really quickly, run out again. You can now do the same thing, but with, you know, actual flying over cliffs. So let's say I want to be killing this hatchery right up there, right? Let's move all of these guys over there. And you actually all moved over that corner because we don't really care about you. But let's say we want to be killing this hatchery. And we got a bunch of Swarm Hosts. Let's say we have about 5 or so, which I think is a reasonable number. Let's say we have about 5 or so and want to kill this hatchery up here, but there's this cliff. Let's say we have expanded right here, and my opponent has expanded rather up there. I'm going to be using these Swarm Hosts right here to basically spawn their Locusts from my base, straight onto their base. And then I can actually run out again if I want to. Swoop down on that thing. And simply attack move. And what happens is that this hatchery is gone. There's really nothing you can do in that amount of time either. I mean, there's no transfuse that will be able to deal with that. There is no Protoss Warpin that will be able to deal with that. There is no Planetary Fortress that will be able to deal with that. It will just simply go down, pretty much no matter what. Now keep in mind, while that may sound like it's way too strong, what does happen is that obviously these units are extremely expensive. And on top of that, the cooldown to spawn Locust has been incredibly, like, you know, it's incredibly much higher. So right now, you know, it just you know, takes forever for these swarmers to be able to actually spawn Locusts once more. And it's simply gonna be practically impossible to put down a lot of Swarm Hosts at once and just sort of make a ton of Locusts. But all in all, this is a massive change, and this is happening likely very soon to Heart of the Swarm. Now, we're gonna actually see right here how far they can fly. So I put them down right here at this point in the map, and we're gonna just check how far we can really fly. Do you think we can be able to kill that base in time? It might be a little bit too close. Let's just give it a try. Quick, 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 quick. Oh, no, just barely not. But that's actually a considerable distance right there. That is all the way from, I don't know, I guess my fort to his fort, so to say. So, you know, well, actually, it's like a 5th or a 6th, rather. But, you know, you get the idea. Like, they cover quite a bit of distance. And even though they don't have the Enduring Locust upgrade anymore, they can still really deal a ton of damage. But keep in mind, you're never going to be able to max them out. Now, let's just try and kill that base once more. I try to want to get it down just for giggles. Alright, we walk a little bit forward right now, and now I'm going to move back once more. Let's see if we can do this. So I'm going to select my Locust, and I'll simply click on that hatchery right there, and they should be able to make it right there in time easily. Just queue up that shift command. I hope they will actually swoop down already. Come on. Oh my god. That was literally, like, very, very far away right now. Now, there's a couple other things that I would like to try out. First off, do they hit air? Now, I know this, I know the answer already, but let's have a quick look at it, because they do fly. Let's just have a quick look at it so you guys can see it firsthand as well. Need to make sure, we need to actually wait a little bit longer for this respawn right here. Got a couple of overlords incoming, so we can check that out. Because there were some concerns by people, like, let's say my opponent is going for Colossus. Can I actually counter Colossus with flying Locust? Well, here we go. Let's give it a try. So I'm gonna spawn my Locust, and I'm gonna attack move them straight on top of one of these guys. And as you can see, I can't attack with them, they are flying. There's no way I can attack with it. I need to land first. And then I can attack move, but I can't attack move on flying units. So you always need to be, basically having them landed, and they need to be only attacking ground in order for these guys to be efficient. Alright, so my thoughts on this actual change. Now, basically what they could have done is just remove the swarm host and added a new unit into the game. There is really very little similar to the old unit as far as gameplay goes. Now, I personally think this is absolutely awesome. I have actually been thinking about it quite a lot, and I have never enjoyed the way that swarm hosts work. I've been very vocal about that as well. I just simply never liked that you could sit back for a very long time, mess up a massive amount of swarm hosts, and then just sort of sit back longer and make static defense and eventually win at like the 40-minute mark. I've never been a big fan of that. So I am actually very glad that they are taking this risk, Blizzard that is, that they are taking this risk in the middle of an expansion. That is not really something that Blizzard usually does, so I wanna basically applaud them for that, because that is awesome. But I'm glad they are taking this risk to make the game more fun, at the very least to play for me, but also to watch, because I don't think there's very many people that enjoy watching these endless long swarm host games that can sometimes even last up to hours. So I am very glad about it personally. Now, there are a couple of concerns as far as especially Zerg versus Protoss and Zerg versus Mech goes, but there's only one thing we can really do at this point, is just wait and see what happens. I am sure there are gonna be some amazing Korean pro gamers that will do some incredible things with these units, maybe even do some silly drops with the swarm host now, just sort of load a bunch into an overlord, drop in a base, spawn the Locust, nuke down the base, and just get out of there again. And because they are so fast right now, you can really do run-bys and all kinds of awesome things with them that the original swarm host definitely could not do. So just look at that. Like, I'm already out of there again. Like, I'm not gonna worry about this. This thing is just gonna go. Now, normally they would obviously attack move by themselves. I can't actually. They don't want to attack move. Oh, there we go. Well, I forgot, I basically wasted half the time, but they still took about 2 seconds to kill that thing. So, the damage is awesome. Keep in mind, though, it's gonna be practically impossible to mess these things up, because they are extremely expensive in gas. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more StarCraft 2 content, hit that subscribe button. And I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one.